What if the single most effective thing you could do today to protect yourself from a fall had nothing to do with buying anything, installing anything, or starting a complicated new routine? No grip socks, no bathroom rails, no balance gadgets. What if the answer was simply a small change in the way you walk? One specific adjustment to a movement you have been doing your entire life, and almost certainly doing in a way that puts you at risk without ever realizing it. I want to talk to you about this today because, in all my years of working with adults over 70, this is the pattern I have seen more than any other. A person comes in after a fall. They are confused, they are shaken, and they say, "I was just walking across the room. I was not doing anything unusual." And they are absolutely right. They were not doing anything unusual. That is precisely the problem. The way they walk every single day had quietly become dangerous, and no one had ever pointed it out. Today, I am going to change that for you. I am going to explain what is most likely happening in your walk right now, why it is putting you at greater risk than you may realize, and the one simple correction that can begin protecting you from your very next step. The problem: the shuffle gait. Let me describe something, and I want you to think honestly about whether any of this sounds familiar. Picture someone walking down a hallway. Their steps are short, noticeably shorter than they used to be. Their feet barely lift off the ground with each step, sliding forward in a low, shuffling motion rather than picking up cleanly. Their upper body leans slightly forward. Their eyes are aimed down toward the floor. Their arms hang quietly at their sides, barely moving. They are being careful, deliberate. Because somewhere in the back of their mind, the floor has started to feel less trustworthy than it once did. This is called a shuffle gait, and it is one of the most common walking patterns I observe in adults over 70. It develops so gradually that most people never notice it happening at all. What begins as a little extra caution after a close call slowly becomes a habit. The steps get shorter. The feet stop lifting. The posture tilts forward, and what feels like careful, safe walking has actually become one of the highest risk movement patterns the body can adopt. Here is why. When the feet shuffle close to the ground, any irregularity on that surface, a rug edge, a slightly raised threshold, a small crack in the pavement, becomes an instant trip hazard. There is simply not enough clearance between the foot and the floor for anything to go wrong without it going very wrong. And because the steps are short and the weight is already pitched forward, the moment a toe catches something, the body has almost no time and no room to recover. The fall happens before there is even an awareness of losing balance. Shuffle gait also signals something important happening beneath the surface. The muscles responsible for lifting the legs, the hip flexors, the glutes, the core, have weakened from underuse, and the communication between the brain and the legs has slowed. The reassuring thing is that both of these are reversible, and it begins with one change, the one change. Heel strike. From this moment forward, I want every step you take to begin with your heel. This is called a heel strike, and it is how the human body is designed to walk. When we are young and our gait is natural and unguarded, the heel contacts the ground first with each step. The weight then rolls forward through the arch, across the ball of the foot, and pushes off through the toes to drive the next step. It is a smooth, continuous rolling motion, and it is one of the most efficient and stable movement patterns the body produces. But here's what happens over time. As the muscles weaken and confidence in balance quietly fades, that heel strike disappears. The foot starts landing flat or even toe first. The steps become shorter and lower. We stop rolling through the foot. We stop pushing off. We start shuffling. And with every passing month of shuffling, the muscles that produce a proper heel strike grow weaker still, simply because they are no longer being asked to work. Correcting this is simpler than it might sound. With each step, reach your heel slightly forward, just a few inches more than you normally would, and let it make contact with the ground first. Feel the weight shift forward through your foot. Let your toes push off behind you as you move. And most importantly, lift your foot. Do not slide it. Pick it up, reach it forward, and land on the heel. When you do this correctly, several things happen at once. Your step length naturally increases, which improves stability and forward momentum. Your foot clears the ground properly, which removes the risk of catching on surface irregularities. Your posture improves because the heel strike pulls the weight back and upright out of that forward-leaning position. And your hip flexors, glutes, and core are suddenly being asked to engage again, which begins rebuilding the strength that protects you from falls. One change, but it sets off a chain reaction throughout the entire body that begins working for you rather than against you with every single step. Now let me walk you through 5 exercises that will make this new walking pattern feel natural, automatic, and strong. Exercise 1. Conscious heel strike walk. Before anything else, you need to practice the heel strike itself, slowly and with full awareness. Most people who have been shuffling for months or years have genuinely lost the motor pattern of a proper heel strike. The neural pathway that produces it has faded from disuse. This exercise rebuilds it by asking the brain and the legs to practice the correct movement, one repetition at a time, until it begins to feel automatic again. Find a clear hallway or open space. Stand at one end, with one hand lightly touching the wall for security if needed. Begin walking, but focus on one thing only. With every step, consciously reach the heel slightly forward and let it land first. Feel the contact. Feel the weight roll through the foot. Feel the toes push off. Take 10 steps forward this way. Turn carefully, using small, controlled steps, and walk back. That is one set. Complete 3 sets, with 30 seconds of rest between each. Walk slowly for this exercise. Speed works against relearning. The slower you move, the more conscious control you have over each step, and the stronger the signal you are sending to your nervous system. Think of this as reprogramming, not just walking. Exercise 2. High knee march. One of the most direct consequences of shuffle gait is that the hip flexors, the muscles that lift the leg with each step, gradually weaken. When they are weak, foot clearance drops. And when foot clearance drops, every rug, every threshold, every uneven surface becomes a potential hazard. This exercise targets those muscles directly and rebuilds the lifting reflex that keeps the feet safely above the ground with every stride. Stand behind a sturdy chair with both hands resting lightly on the back for support. March in place, lifting your right knee toward your chest as high as you comfortably can. Lower it back with control. Then lift the left knee. That is one full repetition. Complete 15 repetitions on each side, 30 total lifts, at a slow and deliberate pace. The lift should feel like genuine effort. If it feels too easy, you are not lifting high enough. Stand tall throughout. Do not lean the upper body backward as the knee rises. The work should come from the hip, not from momentum. And control the descent just as carefully as the lift. The lowering phase builds the eccentric strength your leg needs when the foot returns to the ground. Exercise 3. Stride length walk. Shuffle gait shortens the stride dramatically, often to half or less of what it once was. A short stride is an unstable stride. It reduces momentum, disrupts the rhythm of balance, and pushes the center of gravity into an awkward forward position. This exercise gently challenges you to extend the stride back toward a safer, more stable range. Place 2 pieces of tape on the floor of your hallway, about 18 inches apart. This is your target stride length. Stand at one end, step forward, and aim to land your heel at or just beyond the second piece of tape. Then step with the other foot, landing the heel at the same distance. Walk the length of the hallway this way, 10 full strides, then turn and return. Complete 2 full lengths. Focus entirely on step length and heel contact. Do not overreach or lunge. The goal is a comfortable, natural extension of the stride, not a dramatic exaggeration. If 18 inches feels like too much, begin with 12. The distance matters less than the habit of reaching the heel forward with intention on every step. Exercise 4. Slow motion walk. Speed is where proper walking mechanics tend to break down. When we walk at our normal everyday pace, we rely on habit and momentum rather than conscious muscle control. The slow motion walk removes speed from the equation entirely, asking every muscle involved in walking to work independently and with full awareness. Stand at one end of your hallway. Begin walking at the slowest pace you can physically manage. So slow that each step takes 3 to 4 full seconds to complete. Lift the foot, pause briefly. Reach the heel forward, lower it to the floor. Feel the weight shift. Push off with the toes. Begin the next step. Walk the full length of the hallway this way. Turn carefully and return. That is 1 set. Complete 2 sets. This will feel unusual. Slow motion walking is genuinely challenging because it removes all the shortcuts that habitual movement relies on. Every small wobble you feel is your balance system being trained. Every tiny correction your ankle makes is your nervous system rebuilding its responsiveness. That difficulty is the whole point. Embrace it. Exercise 5. Obstacle step over. Real life is full of things on the floor. Rugs, door thresholds, electrical cords, a grandchild's toy left in the hallway. Every one of these is a potential hazard for someone with low foot clearance. This exercise trains the brain and the legs to recognize an obstacle, lift the foot high enough to clear it safely, and land with control on the other side. Place a rolled towel or a soft, lightweight object on the floor of your hallway. It should be about 4 to 6 inches high. Stand a few feet back from it, with a wall or chair within reach. Walk toward the obstacle at a normal, controlled pace. As you approach it, lift your right foot deliberately, high enough to clear the object with room to spare, and step over. Then lift the left foot and clear it completely. Continue walking a few steps beyond. Turn carefully and return. Complete 5 passes in each direction, 10 step-overs in total. Do not rush as you approach. Slow down slightly as you get close. Lift the foot early, well before you reach the object, and make a conscious, confident step. The goal is to train the brain to recognize an obstacle, respond in advance, and execute the clearance with control. A brief but important note before we finish. If you have recently had a hip or knee replacement, if you are being treated for any heel condition, or if your physician has advised you to avoid weight-bearing exercise, please speak with your doctor or a physical therapist before attempting these movements. Some exercises may need to be adjusted for your specific situation. Always practice near a wall, a countertop, or a sturdy chair. Wear non-slip footwear. Never rush. And if at any point you feel sharp discomfort, dizziness, or anything that does not feel right, stop and rest. There is no movement here worth risking your safety over. Progress at your own pace and trust your body to guide you. The truth is, the way you walk every day either builds your safety or quietly erodes it. A shuffle gait feels cautious. It feels careful. But it is the opposite of safe. Restoring the heel strike, rebuilding the hip flexes, extending the stride, these are not complicated goals. They are small, specific, daily choices. And when they are made consistently, they add up to something significant. Steadier steps, more confidence on any surface. The ability to move through your home and your life with less worry and more ease. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me your age and where you are watching from. And let me know, does the shuffle gait sound familiar to you? Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. If this video was helpful, please share it with someone you care about. And subscribe so you never miss what is coming next. Thank you for being here. Walk tall, walk carefully, and I will see you in the next video.